Okay, so normally this video would be about talking about different things wrong with the 964, and I will resume the normal video after this announcement, but things have not turned out the way I'd like them to, because whilst inspecting the car I found out 2 or maybe even 3 things that are very wrong with the car. So as you see here, I am working on changing the spark plugs, which is a job that's really not fun because the car has 12 spark plugs, so 3 on the top of each side and 3 on the bottom of each side. So the bottom ones are pretty easy once you can access them, but the top ones, I mean, it is so cramped and you really don't have a lot of space to move around. And while I was changing the 3rd spark plug, I think from cylinder number 3, I found something that's not supposed to be there. So yeah, I found this. I found a broken engine stud inside of the valve cover. And well, guess what? I was not amused, to say the least. If you saw my last video about me picking up the car and complaining about the sound in the mid-range, well, I think that this is the cause of that sound, because it sounds like I said it was not running on all cylinders, but I guess that's wrong, because the spark plugs look okay to me, but in the meantime I would describe it more like an leaky collector. So this is exactly what I didn't expect it, because I was not planning on taking out the engine on this car right away, but since I found this, I don't have any trust in this engine anymore. To see those obvious flaws on this type of car, it's just hard to believe. And so now I am still continuing to change the spark plugs, but I'm also at the same time collecting offers to get the engine out and redone. So yeah, thanks for watching, and I hope that you will keep watching the videos and following my journey to maybe my or the perfect 964. New day, same story. Things are just becoming worse and worse with this car. I don't want to go into too much detail, because this is going to have juridical consequences for me, apparently, even though I don't think that I'm the one to blame and that I should be prosecuting him for what he sold me. Anyways, I don't want to go too much into it, because I'm just going to be even more upset. For now, I'm still working on the car. Spark plugs are still not entirely in, but I arrived at a point where I want to have the car inspected by a professional. I mean, the car, it's not the car's fault that its previous owner, you know what I'm about to say, but I'm not going to say it, doesn't do the car justice. So I'm in a position where I think that I'm going to save this car and make it better than it ever was. I will not let this situation turn my enthusiasm down on this car, or my passion for cars in general. I'm still working on this car, and it is a pleasure to work on it. I guess other people would just leave this car alone or sell it because they will not be able to drive it anymore without thinking about that entire story. But for me, I will drive this car with pleasure, especially after the engine is going to be rebuilt. So that's like, again, I didn't plan on doing this, but since I will have to do it anyways, then why not just enjoy the car? I mean, I paid for it, I wanted it so badly that it would just be stupid to now only think about the bad things that happened to me in relation with this car. So now back to my first initial video where I talk about the different flaws about this car. I hope you still enjoy the videos. Keep commenting. I have a lot of views so far and I think that you enjoy this content, so yeah, see you soon. Thanks. Hi. So if you follow my channel, then you saw the moment I took home this car, and this is video number 3. So in this video I will try and pick up all the things that are wrong with the car, at least the things that I've seen so far that are really bothering me and that I want to change right away before even driving 1 more meter in this car. As I mentioned before, the ventilation does not work, so the interior fans do not work. In the meantime, I found out why, and let me just show you. So yeah, as I mentioned before, the fans didn't work inside, and after a quick inspection in my new garage with my embedded lift, which I'm super stoked about, but yeah, ignore like all the mess around. We only moved in this house like 2 weeks ago and it is still in the process of all being placed or put in the right order and place. So yeah, as you see here, I already took apart quite some parts. First of all, I took out the carpet to, well, yeah, inspect maybe some well-known rust issues. Then yeah, to familiarize with how everything works, where everything is. And I then looked for a fuse in the fuse box, and when I took out the list with the different fuses, I found out that fuse number 1 was the fuse for the ventilation. And I opened it up and yeah, there was no fuse. So that has to have a reason, right? And then I took out some of the parts that need to be taken out in order to access the 2 fans that are on the left and on the right of the car, to find out if they even turned or not. And this was exactly the case. So I already put some lube on it, so this is now turning okay, but the other side is like completely baked. It is just stuck. And so I ordered those 2 fans new, and then I had a problem with the unit itself because the buttons, well, yeah, this one doesn't work at all. So you can push for as long as you want, it just doesn't work. Now for the interior part, you see here that this bit doesn't look very good either, but I got this thing new already. Then for the switches, same thing. So they, I don't know what happened to them, but they are like in a strange position. After that, you see that the glass here is broken. I don't like the silver rings. I don't like the silver instruments either. I hate that steering wheel, but that's something I'm going to sort out because I have my Momo steering wheel that's just behind the driver's seat. So I will change this out very soon. Yeah, what I didn't mention was that this car has cruise control. Once I will have taken this all out, I will tell you what I found. So yeah, so those 2 fans are now out. It is 2 days later. So the initial idea was to take out the entire unit, which I'm still working on, but it seems to be harder than I thought it would. There are all type of screws screwed from the inside, from the top here, and then some tubes, and yeah, I still have to figure that out because I want to like refurbish this area so that I will hopefully never have to take this out again. For now, I am going to take out those blinkers and reflectors and replace them with the orange ones. After this, I will be changing out the rear taillights. You see the cracks in the plastic, that's because of the age, and you can almost feel them in some areas. One week into owning this car, and I'm still not gone very far. I've now tried and clean up this entire area, so I've redone the wiring harness. I've put 2 new fans behind that cover. I've cleaned everything so that it looks better. But yeah, as I dig deeper into this car, the flaws keep coming, and they keep getting like worse, because I didn't mention this in my previous video, but the handbrake didn't work well. Yeah, so if you pulled the handbrake, the lever stood up almost at an angle of 90 degrees, and it had like no braking effect, and I was like, well, that's an easy fix. But then I found out that this very lever was broken. I will show you. So you see that rear part is just like torn and twisted, and that metal round piece should go in there and not be where it is. So yeah, again, the list of things to do on this car keep coming and coming and coming. As I mentioned in my very first video, I think that there is something wrong with the ignition of the car. So I now got a set of spark plugs right here, but I want to have this car registered before I do any more work on it and immobilize it any further. So for now, this is it. I will keep you posted once this entire thing is back on.